96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Prime Minister Davis admitting that his administration had little success on inflation, saying his government's measures failed to drive down prices. Prime Minister also slamming Michael Pintard over his error in analyzing the budget. And the Prime Minister defending the government's public sector salary review plan as he kicked off debate on the budget. Plus, we continue our Labor Week series. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, June 6th, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. And as we said, our Labor Week series continues, wrapping up today as Randall Fox Labor Day is tomorrow. We're going to have a good cross-section of discussions for you this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, while admitting that the policies the government has put in place since 2021 have had little success in driving down the high cost of living, Prime Minister Philip Davis says his administration is still attacking the problems from several angles. As he led off debate on the 2024-25 budget in the House yesterday, Prime Minister says that since their first budget in 2021 reduced the cost of living, but they've had little success. He said it was clear that something structural was at play. He said the government has established the National Trade Facilitation Committee, which will oversee the Bahamas' overall trade environment. He says this includes the upgrade of Potter's Key Port, the digitization of trade ecosystems, streamlining and simplifying processes, and increasing competition across supply chains. He said evidence from the World Bank suggests that the creation of such a committee has a big impact on reducing costs for ordinary people. He said that countries that have implemented trade facilitation reforms can reduce costs by up to 1/3. Defending the government's plan for a $10 million salary review for the public sector while bashing the F&M for spreading what he called baseless news about his administration's decision to allocate funding toward the process. Davis first announced the initiative in the House last week. The announcement drew criticism from F&M Chairman Dr. Dwight Sands, who questioned how the money will be used. Davis sought to clarify the issue yesterday. He said that the salary review in the public sector is specifically designed to improve pay for employees and not to hire a private company to review salaries. He said the opposition has spread this baseless news that question how this money will be used. He said the funding, again, would be used to compensate hardworking public service employees. He said in order to offer competitive pay, the government has to benchmark public sector salaries against those in the private sector. He said regular salary reviews should be conducted to guarantee that the government can provide adequate compensation to retain employees. And after F&M leader Michael Pintard accused Prime Minister Davis of a $1 million error in his budget communication, the Prime Minister yesterday clarified that Pintard misunderstood the matter as he accused him of prioritizing political ambitions over studying the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Referring to the F&M convention on Saturday, where Pintard was re-elected leader of the party, Davis said the timing was, quote, hard to understand. He said the choice to call a party convention during the budget period and to prioritize a fractious leadership convention on the very weekend of the budget period is hard to understand. Why prioritize one's political ambitions at such a time? Davis said the government had only collected $15.1 million in value-added tax on real estate transactions over $1 million. In a statement on Tuesday, Pintard claimed that the budget indicated that $81.4 million was collected, and he referred to Davis as an inattentive and ill-suited prime minister. In a statement from the Office of Prime Minister, though, it clarified that the difference was revenue from foreign property transfer. Prime Minister also saying yesterday that his government is committed to changing the status quo in Grand Bahama, as he highlighted several efforts on the island. He said they are hoping to make a positive announcement soon on the sale for the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Davis said the government is also paying less than $4 million for the purchase of several iconic Freeport sites, which will be redeveloped through a loan from the Afro-Exim Bank. He said, quote, the government is purchasing the Princess Towers Hotel, the West Sunrise Road, and the site of the International Bazaar for under $4 million. A higher loan facility has been arranged with the Afro-Exim Bank for an exciting new development on that site. Details will be announced very shortly. Also from the House, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell says that he hopes works will progress on a new parliament over the next 2 years. Mitchell noted that $7.2 million is allocated for building maintenance in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Capital Works budget. He says there are a number of building projects that the ministry hopes to be engaged in, one of which is Parliament. He says that the design for the new building is in the Ministry of Works. In other news, a man accused of killing his girlfriend will be tried next July. Juliano Dorset is accused of the April 19, 2023 murder of Yinka Strachan, a mother of three. Strachan's bullet-riddled body was found in the South Beach Canal by swimmers. Dorset, who was on remand, has denied the murder charge. He received a July 21, 2025 trial date when he appeared before Justice Janine Rich Gomez. Dorset is, again, expected to have that trial in July. And the wife of businessman Philippe Gagnon is still seeking justice after her husband was cleared of causing harm to Spencer Charrington, the son of Albany executive Peter Charrington, this week. Spencer Charrington was arrested by police on April 4th concerning a complaint by Diana Gagnon that he touched her butt while at a New Year's Eve party at Albany on January 1st. However, he was released pending further inquiries. Gagnon's husband was charged with causing harm after he slapped Spencer following the alleged assault. However, the case was dismissed after Magistrate Algernon Allen Jr. struck the evidence of Spencer Charrington and Albany head butler Lavardo Bethel following accusations of witness coaching. Spencer's father, Peter, admitted to correcting Bethel when he said that Gagnon had hit him and not his son. Mrs. Gagnon telling the Nassau Guardian, quote, I don't think I was treated fairly. The Gagnons say they have filed 2 complaints at the corruption unit about how the matter was handled. And Prime Minister Davis announcing that former Supreme Court Justice Thomas Evans KC has passed away. Before beginning his contribution in the House, Dave spoke highly of Evans, calling him a good friend and describing him as a gentleman and a gentle giant. Evans served in several capacities. He started his career as Crown Counsel, served as acting magistrate, and established Evans & Co. law firm, serving as senior partner for 39 years. He leaves behind his wife, senior children. Overseas, an Israeli strike early today on a school sheltering displaced Palestinians in central Gaza killed more than 30 people, including 23 women and children. The Israeli military said that Hamas militants were operating from within the school. It was the latest instance of mass casualties among Palestinians trying to find refuge as Israel expands its offensives against, in the Gaza Strip. A day earlier, the military announced a new ground and air assault in central Gaza, pursuing Hamas militants it says have regrouped there. Troops repeatedly have swept back into sections of the Gaza Strip they have previously invaded, underscoring the resilience of the militant group despite Israel's nearly 8-month onslaught on the territory. Witnesses and hospital officials say the pre-dawn strike hit the Al-Sardi school run by the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees. The school was filled with Palestinians who were and a bombardment in northern Gaza. Meanwhile, Spain today becoming the first European country to ask United Nations Court for permission to join South Africa's case accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. South Africa has filed its case with the International Court of Justice late last year. It alleged that Israel was breaching the Genocide Convention in its military assault that has laid waste to large swaths of Gaza. The court has ordered Israel to immediately halt its military offensive, but stopped short of ordering a ceasefire for the enclave. Israel has not complied and shows no sign of doing so. The Spanish foreign minister is saying they take the decision because of the ongoing military operation in Gaza, and that they want peace to return to Gaza and the Middle East, and for that to happen, it says all must support the rulings of the court. Mexico, Colombia, Nicaragua, Libya, and the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands, to grant approval to their request to join the case. Israel denies it's committing genocide in its military operation, as it aims to crush Hamas. Hamas had killed 1,200 people and took 250 more hostages in a surprise attack. Israel's air and land attacks have killed 36,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry. And leaders, veterans, and visitors from around the world paying tribute today to the D-Day generation in moving ceremonies on and around the Normandy beaches where the Allies landed exactly 80 years ago, with the war in Ukraine on the minds of many and a common message that tyranny cannot be permitted to prevail. Ever-dwindling numbers of World War II veterans who have pilgrimaged back to France and Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, dashing hopes that lives and cities wouldn't again be late, all making it more poignant, a poignant anniversary of the June 6, 1944 Allied landings. The break of dawn, 8 decades after Allied troops waded ashore under hails of gunfire, kicked off a day of remembrance by Allied nations now standing together again behind Ukraine, and with World War II, Russia not invited by host France. It cited Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine that has intensified in recent weeks for the snub. In sports, one of the fastest men in the world and the joint sixth fastest in history is primed to grace these shores for the third annual NACAC New Life Invitational. The mega one-day event, a part of the World Athletics Continental Tour Silver Label Series, will be held on Father's Day, Sunday, June 16th, at the original Thomas A. Robinson Track and Field Stadium right here in Nassau. It's geared toward providing opportunities for NACAC athletics area athletes to improve their world rankings and qualify for the Paris Olympic Games. Coming out for the launch of the event yesterday, it was revealed that American Trayvon Bromell, who won the first New Life Invitational in the men's 100 meters, will be back to go after another sprint title. Bromell has a personal best time of 9.76 seconds and won at the inaugural New Life Invitational in 9.77 seconds in Miramar, Florida in 2021. It's the second year in the row that NACAC New Life Invitational will be held here. Last year it was at the Grand Bahama Sports Complex in Freeport, Grand Bahama. In a thrilling showdown in Chicago, Jonquil J.J. Jones and the New York Liberty in the WNBA triumphed over the Chicago Sky 88-75. The Liberty dominated early on, opening with an impressive 21-6 lead in the first quarter. The Liberty improved to 8-2 so far this season. And Bahamas Aquatics Federation First Vice President Lynn Friano sharing her expectations for the upcoming swimming nationals. As one of the last qualifiers for the Paris Olympics, the event is set to attract hundreds of swimmers from the Caribbean and United States. Friano expressing her enthusiasm for the event, highlighting its potential to foster development and recognition within the sport. The 52nd Bahamas Aquatics Federation's National Swimming Championship set for June 20th through 23rd at the newly revamped Betty Kelly Kenning National Swim Complex. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got streaming tropical moisture and troughing that will continue to support bouts of showers and thunderstorms over portions of the islands throughout tonight. There remains a risk of severe weather over portions of the country. Boaters should be alert for waterspout activity, and the risk of flooding remains in low-lying and flood-prone areas, especially in areas already inundated with water. For the Northwest Bahamas, everybody's being advised to remain hydrated and limit prolonged sun exposure, as triple-digit heat indices are expected. So, for today, for the Northwest Bahamas, we're looking at partly cloudy, warm, and humid conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near showers and thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 knots or less, seas 1 to 3 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variably cloudy, warm, and humid with widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Showers could be heavy and thunderstorms. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers or thunderstorms. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas 1 to 3 feet near shore, but up to 4 feet along Atlantic exposed shorelines. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting back up into the 90s. Highs around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius, but the heat index in the triple digits again, around 101 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. What can you expect for your Labor Day holiday weekend? We'll tell you about that in your extended outlook, and we'll have a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
End of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth the way you want.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit cfal.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Ignite your leadership capabilities, expand your vision, and chart the path to a bright future at the CIBC Caribbean Ignite Leadership Conference, 27th of June at Bahamas from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Join Sarah Kunst, a venerated entrepreneur who has worked at Apple and Red Bull. Sarah is a Forbes 30 Under 30 Future Innovator and has been honored by the Wall Street Journal. Also hear about the leadership journey of Anthony Ferguson and Crystal Rutherford Ferguson. This event is designed for senior business executives and seasoned entrepreneurs. Register at cibcfcib.com/ignite to secure your space. Only successful registrants will be acknowledged. Join us for the Ignite Leadership Conference, June 27th at Bahamas.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Simplified lending's how to ease your way. Writing your tomorrow, starting today. Simplified lending for simplified living. Tuition, vacation, or a home redo. Simplified lending's here for you. Simplified lending for simplified living. Simplified lending for simplified living.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line, powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Join me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning. Great to have you with us as always.
Always a pleasure to be here.
How are things in Grand Bahama?
Hot.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're all in the
That's
same...
the prevailing thought.
All in the same boat there. Wow. All right, so we have a lot to get to this morning. There's a lot in the news, a lot coming out of the budget debates, and we're going to talk about some of that. And then we continue with we'll wrap up our two-day Labor Week series. Today we're going to be talking with the government and also the Bahamas Public Service Union. A lot of interesting things to discuss this morning. So that's all that's going to take us into business today. I want to hear from you all as well. There's a lot that's going to be affecting all the workers in the country over the next year. So that's all ahead, but let's begin with what's happening in the news. And in the news, just want to mention this, the Prime Minister brought it to our attention yesterday, announcing that former Supreme Court Justice Thomas Evans, KC, died yesterday morning. The Tribune's reporting this. Before beginning his contribution to the 2024-2025 budget debate, Mr. Davis spoke highly of his good friend and described him as a gentleman with whom he practiced and studied law. In calling Evans a gentle giant, the Prime Minister recalled the pair's memories and said that Evans' son was the Prime Minister's godson. And Evans served in several capacities. He started his career as Crown Counsel from 1976 to 79, served as acting magistrate from September 81 to December 81, and from January 83 to September 83, and established Evans & Co. law firm in 87, serving as senior partner for 39 years. He leaves behind his wife, senior magistrate Carolyn Vogt Evans, and children. We remember Thomas Evans early on in Morning Blend. I think it was either our second or third year we did a special Constitution series. We went through the Constitution. We had lawyers, legal experts. Gracious. I think he came on at least twice, maybe three times. But he came on, and we learned so much from him, and it was a wonderful exercise. We need to do that again. But now it's not going to be the same because Thomas Evans won't be here. He really was an expert on the Bahamian Constitution. But we're going to revisit that at some point. But we say rest in peace to Thomas Evans, KC. All right, so the budget debate continues. Laverne, I think we got some answers based on the questions that came out last week after the communication. And we had, of course, you remember, the Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, Trey Ramming, saying that some things were not included in the communication that he wanted to make sure everyone understood when it comes to the purchase of the International Bazaar. And the Prime Minister basically confirming that yesterday that's the intention. Again, they haven't done it yet, but this is what they want to do. So for more on that, I know you had a lot of questions. But this article in the National Guardian today, Davison says better days ahead for Grand Bahama. Now, how many times have you heard that before, Laverne?
Too many times to count. That's right up there with bring the magic back to the Magic City.
Yeah. Well, here's what our Rachel Scott is writing. Prime Minister Philip Davis yesterday said that his government is committed to changing the status quo in Grand Bahama, as he highlighted several efforts on the island. Now, that's the theme of this budget, apparently, right? Mm-hmm. And we've been hearing that a lot when it comes to Grand Bahama.
Changing the status quo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as he opened debate on the 2024-2025 budget, Davis said he's hopeful there will soon be a sale of the Grand Lucayan. It's been a couple of almost 2 years. We've been hopeful. Well, if you go back to the previous administration, has been, 5 years of hope?
Listen, Dwight.
Well, you got to have hope. You got to keep the hope.
Yeah. What is it? Keep hope alive?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Davis said, quote, the latest round of negotiations for the sale of the Grand Lucayan Hotel are at an extremely promising stage. We hope that a positive announcement is imminent. The House will recall that the hotel was bought by the previous administration against all advice and for an amount higher than the valuation. It remains a drain on the public finances.
Mm-hmm.
Davis said the government is also paying less than $4 million for the purchase of several iconic Freeport sites, which will be redeveloped through a loan from the Afro-Exim Bank. Okay, so you hear that part. So that that bigger number is for, as Latrell Ramming was saying, for the redevelopment. But they're paying less than $4 million for all these sites. The Prime Minister said,
what are all the sites?
He said, quote, as I said in my communication, the government is purchasing the Princess Towers Hotel. I don't think he said that in the communication.
He did not say that in his communication.
No.
He only said the International Bazaar and opening the road.
Right. So he says, as I said.
Latrell came on and then clarified and said the $30 million included development and the
purchase.
And the purchase of the Royal Oasis / Princess, whatever you remember it as, property.
Right. So the Prime Minister again says, as I said in my communication, the government's purchasing the Princess Towers Hotel, the West Sunrise Road, and the site of the International Bazaar for under $4 million.
Okay.
And that's new too.
So the rest of the funds, the $30 million, let's say it's 4, so 26 will go to redevelopment.
The loan facility has been arranged with the Afro-Exim Bank for an exciting new development of that site. Again, details will be announced very shortly. Now, so the paper's calling him out on what he said last week. What the Prime Minister, in fact, said in his communication last week is, quote, this budget year we expect to source $30 million to fund the purchase of the International Bazaar and the reopening of the West Sunrise Highway to accommodate the projected growth in tourism and economic activity over the next few years.
Correct.
Beyond preserving a significant landmark, this endeavor holds economic potential as the revitalization of the bazaar can stimulate tourism, create jobs, and generate business activity. Similarly, reopening the West Sunrise Highway will improve connectivity and facilitate growth in Grand Bahama. Now, and also that day, you remember that infamous press conference on Thursday morning? Minister of State for Economic Affairs, Michael Halkidis, said at that press conference at the Office of Prime Minister that the government expects to spend $30 million for the redevelopment of the bazaar. He, too, didn't mention the other properties.
He did not, and I tuned in.
Right,
we all did. He did not mention the other properties.
We all tuned in.
I didn't tune in just for the WWE event. Right. I tuned in because I wanted to hear about that, and he did not.
No.
He only said in his press conference, he said the International Bazaar, the road, and development. He included development.
Now, in all fairness, I don't think he expected to have to play referee, so maybe he forgot to mention it.
Yeah, it threw him. Probably threw him.
Yeah, so perhaps. Now, Freeport, once a thriving second city in the Bahamas, has suffered from a significant economic slowdown and an exodus of residents in the past 2 decades. And then it rehashed the last few years for you guys.
Yeah.
But hey,
I don't need it rehashed.
No, I'm sure you don't.
Thank you.
Enough salt in the wounds. All right, so let's get your reaction to that. So now the Prime Minister's made it clear they're paying under $4 million for these properties because many were saying, "Wait, well, why would you be spending
why
that much
pay
for
$30
this
million?
Garbage, essentially, right? What is this about? So now that you hear this, under $4 million plus the rest of it for redeveloping into a very exciting new development. What say you, Grand Bahamian Laverne Gardner? And you, our listeners, what say you on this? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, and text us 422-4796. What say you, Laverne, before we take the calls?
What can I say? I still, Dwight, I'm not big on just kind of announcements. Such and such. I'm not big on that. I'm big on, let me get the details. Let me understand exactly what's going to happen. I want to see timelines. Do I want to see the economy revitalized in Grand Bahama? Absolutely, 100%. We need that. It is vital to our continued survival. But again, I can't say that I am over the moon or jumping up and down or I'm so excited about this because I want to understand clearly. I don't want to just have blanket announcements. I want to understand clearly what's going on. I want to know that they've already negotiated the prices because I think, like we discussed last week, it isn't as if the people, the owners of the International Bazaar, are the same owners of former Royal Oasis property, right? So the separate entities. So I want to know, have you already negotiated, met with, discussed all of that, and you've already agreed to a price? You said under 4 million. Part of what Minister Alkeida said was that you're going to be negotiating the price. That's what he said. The actual price for the purchase is going to be negotiated. So are we in negotiations? Have negotiations been completed? What exactly is the amount? Those are the things that I want to know. Then I want to go into timelines. I want to hear what this development plan is. Yes, there are a lot of things. I have ideas what you could do with the National Bazaar property, but I want to know what those plans are, right? So that's where I'm at.
Well, he says you'll find out soon. You'll find out soon.
Okay. Well, you know which day is soon, because we got 7 days on the calendar.
Well, the Afro-Exim Bank, they're going to be in town soon, as in the next couple of weeks. And
right.
so
will
we hear next week what's going on.
Right. So I'll be listening to the plans and seeing how Grand Bahamians will play a role, in these plans coming to fruition, all of that. So at this point, it's an announcement.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Addressing Freeport. You got to remember the commanding heights of Freeport was Barco, the oil companies, even Prime Oil and Syntex. You see? And then it wasn't tourism. Maybe land speculation. But ain't nobody coming to Freeport now for land speculation, right? And then the casino right there. You remember the Princess Towers and things. Those property attempts, they didn't have a beach. They had to bus the people to the beach, and they attempted to bring the beach to the hotel. And that's what you understand what I'm saying. So what is the government trying? And what are they trying to do? I would feel that it's better money spent, public money spent, right? Or economics stimulated, action stimulated should be towards maybe repairing all those citizens' home, those Bahamian citizens' home. You understand? I mean, let them get in. If they want to go with tourism, let them get into the Airbnb or something. You have so many people in Freeport now that not in Freeport, they're living in Nassau and they're renting their homes. Some Airbnb, some not. I think they need to repair those people in Freeport homes, and that will stimulate some construction economy. Some, you know what I mean?
Right.
Activity.
Yeah.
You see?
Interesting.
So this government is only seems like.
Well, we don't know what it is that they want to do
Chinese
yet.
Pardon?
We don't know what they're going to do yet. So let's hear.
And what they're going to do? Bring some diamond or something in the middle. That's not going to bring no. If it's tourism, it's going to bring no tourists here.
Well, we will see.
You understand what I'm saying? They just like throwing things and hoping that it'll stick. You understand me? So and this government and the thing is government and even the F&M government and all parties in the Bahamas. See, I can't say this enough. Seems like only I and Alan Johnson is mentioning it. Is being critical about the sale of BPL, not the way they selling it, the sale itself. And the F&M is not going to be any better. They all are doing the thing, this privatization, this PPP, that isn't working. The UK is the only nation and Europe that ever that deal with that. And it backfired on them. You understand what I'm saying? And we going this way. Man, anyway, thank you.
Okay. Again, we don't know about any of those things. It's only speculation. They've given us just bits and pieces of it. We don't know what is what at all. We're hoping before the end of the month we'll have a clearer picture on all those fronts that you mentioned, but we will see. We will see. People bring up what the Royal Oasis did, right? Which wasn't successful, but the Princess was very successful without the beach for many, 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 many years, right?
Absolutely, and they had a system. In place. I was just out of high school, and I actually worked at Xanadu. Worked for a company that was on Xanadu Beach, and they would routinely, I think it was every 30 minutes, they would bus people to the Xanadu Beach because they had an arrangement with Xanadu property owners to do that. But like you said, it was very successful. Of course, at flights, they would bring the gamblers in and.
Yeah. I mean, you got a whole lot of people, as the caller mentioned, staying at Airbnbs nowhere near the water. And they seem to be
they're fine.
Okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So their issues were bigger with the Royal Oasis than the lack of the beach. A whole lot bigger,
yeah.
Clearly.
You honestly, you'd already seen a shift, right? So we'd already begin to see a shift here in Grand Bahama.
Yeah, absolutely.
The tides had already started turning.
Oh, yeah.
And then whatever else, occurred.
A nice property, but you could feel, I know the first time I stayed there, you could feel like a sense of sadness. I don't know if that, just, you could feel it. But anyway, continue to call in, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Toll free, 242-300-5720. Okay, let's get to some of your text messages, 422-4796. This one says here, sometimes it seems as if the government is either trying to bait us or just put out information as a feeler to enhance what they would say to us after getting a reaction. Two examples of what I'm talking about is that I'm sure that I heard the Prime Minister say that $10 million was put aside for a review of public service salaries, something else said after that. And then the purchase of the International Bazaar, something else said after that. Amazing stuff. Going to have to label him as the king of misspeaking. Well, as Latrey Ramming said, it might have been a misspeak with the Grand Bahama thing. But I think the government uses language that only people in the system really understand. So when you say salary review...
That is such a good way to put it, Dwight, honestly.
Salary review to us might mean, like, as people, a lot of people thought, like, you're going to bring in someone...
It's open to interpretation.
Right.
Salary review doesn't necessarily mean, an increase. I mean, we take it to think that, okay, if there's going to be a salary review, it's a review for a purpose.
Right. Some will take it like
purpose?
that.
And we assume sometimes that the purpose, or would assume that the purpose would be an increase.
We asked that last week, whether this is a review just to look at the salaries, or does it include raising the salaries? But now we got to all speak government speak. And so that means, yes, that already includes raising the salaries. But, if you're in the private sector, you don't speak like that. And so when you hear government say these things, you have to be like, what does that mean? Those in the service know. They can tell you. But the rest of us are like, wait, what? Why? What? But that's the challenge of speaking multiple languages in this tiny country. Let's take some more calls. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
I hope you're doing
morning.
Yes, doing well.
Dwight, Laverne, how much money did the government appropriate for the airport?
I don't know the exact numbers.
I don't know.
I know the exact numbers.
Remember, I don't know that they gave exact numbers in terms of when the Prime Minister announced that he had received funding, and that a portion of that would go towards the airport in Grand Bahama, but they didn't say exactly how much. I'm looking through my notes to see what the actual cost of the proposed airport would be.
Why do you ask, Colin?
No, because, Dwight, I'm sick and tired of these, especially this government. Okay? The Prime Minister, as I said earlier, said from the time he went to the King's coronation that money was made available at Bahamas Airport. I want Latrell Rami to come and let me know, did we or did we not have access to this money? Several announcements were made by the DPM in regards to the airport. And apparently nothing, I understand that the only thing they did was to demolish the terminal. There are no timelines, nothing given as to,
And the terminal is not fully demolished. And if you remember,
the status of the airport, and I just, for me as a citizen, I want, if you tell me something, I believe what you say, okay? And, if what you say does not pan out to be true, after a while, I'm thinking that you're lying to me. Okay, so you need to come back and to reaffirm me that, okay, yes, we made this is where we are, so all of us can know exactly where we are going in this country. Okay, you put things in the budget, you say this, you say that, and, the Grand Bahamians are waiting with expectation on these things to happen. Okay, this fell apart, blah, blah, blah. So the people can know, the Bible said that a promise is a comfort to fools. It's like they're taking these people for fools, man. And then the government need to, stop this foolishness, man.
Okay.
Well, if you remember, Dwight, that was it was around the airport and the funding when I asked Latrell about that, because I was confused why the government was getting funding if the private partners also had funding. And so my question was, how is this public-private partnership going to work? Are both of them getting funding to put in together, or what was it? And he began to talk about the government having responsibilities to take care of, maintain, upkeep the current airport. And then I asked him, so are you saying then that the funding the Prime Minister announced that he received when he went to the coronation is not for the new airport, that is to continue to maintain the current airport that we have? And that's when he said he didn't want to say the wrong thing. And he said that he would get back to me and he would let me know before the press conference last week the answer to my question. I'm still waiting. I just want you to know I didn't get the answers yet.
So,
Latrell, if you are tuning in, I'm still waiting for that answer.
You might not have
them. And I
them.
think that would help. And why not? He said that he would get it for me, Dwight.
Yeah,
I'm going to take him at
when he
his
gets
word.
them, when he gets the answers. But who knows? We don't know anything about what's going on with the airport, the hotel,
so we
and
don't
now
know
this
even if
proposed
that fund,
development.
Right, but my response released to the call after all of that. So we don't even really know if the funding that the Prime Minister announced is for the new airport or it's to help maintain and upkeep the current airport.
But what is that? What is it? What, is that a thing?
What a thing.
Is you have an airport, really?
Yes, we have an airport.
It's a strip with a little hangar thing and a trailer type. Yeah. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
Good morning.
Remember that conversation very well. His specific words was that he did not want to say anything because he did not want to preempt what the Prime Minister would address the public on. We often wonder whether these things are actually deliberate or whether these things are, like he just forgot. But he did say he was going to come back and address it. He never did. Laverne, I'm going to ask you this specifically because you're in Grand Bahama. Now, I've been a hotelier. I've worked in the casino environment for over 34 years, okay? Is it prudent? Okay, if we're going to invest into that airport and get the airport up and running again, Don't you think that it would be prudent, saying that our Lucaya is under the purview of the Bahamas government? Does it make sense to get the casino open, which is an attraction all by itself? I'm pretty sure that if the casino itself was in operation, even though we would still need rooms to put the persons coming to gamble. I also know about junkets that normally fly people in and out.
You're getting way ahead of yourself.
In and out.
You're getting way ahead of yourself. Which casino?
Open?
Which casino?
The one at Grand Lucaya.
What?
The one at Grand Lucaya.
Oh, Grand Lucaya. Okay.
We got all of this money we spending on other airports around the country. We're talking about Grand Bahama now, getting Grand Bahama back up and running. If you could find money for all these other things, you don't think that the technocrats and persons that work within these ministries and the office of the Prime Minister could not consider that casino if they really know the model of business in this country, especially as it pertains to hotels? Don't you think the casino would have attracted me in? Come on, man.
Absolutely.
We cannot continue to play with this thing. I can tell you, under the trees where I'm at, they're looking at this particular government. And, you know, people could say, oh, well, you're PLP bashing. Listen, let the chips fall where they may, because people out here talking. They feel that some of these things are so deliberate, or the people who is either advising the Prime Minister on these things are inept, that we cannot get Grand Bahama up and running in the shortest possible time that we can. All the opportunities are there. Let's deal with the opportunities, get our people employed, get them out of poverty, get them up and running, and then watch Grand Bahama. Don't worry about the Port Authority. Remember, the Port Authority has certain obligations for Grand Bahama. The Bahamas government has a maximum obligations for that island, and we need to get the island up and running, okay? Thanks for taking my call this morning.
I'm a little confused. Who's supposed to run that? The government?
Who's supposed to run what?
The casino.
No.
He's saying try to find an operator for the casino?
Yeah.
And then when the property is sold and they have a totally different plan from the casino, over invest in the casino with a property that's in flux. Nah, not gonna work. I mean, unless you know some different types of business people than I do, I can't imagine who would do that. And then it would be best for them to deal with that. That's just me. I don't know. Am I wrong, Laverne? What am I missing? I'm missing something? Right? Why would anyone do that? But anyway, okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning, Laverne.
You're on the air.
Good morning.
Dwight, sometimes you get me the shaky man, Dwight. Like you be right in the middle of the road, we need you on either the left or the right side sometimes, man, Dwight. All of your callers are correct, Dwight. If all of them could see, and Laverne them could see in 51 years exactly how these administration vote, right? You must can see it to eat it that.
What makes you think I don't see that?
Right. I think you might have been getting something more.
No, don't even joke about that foolishness, right? Don't even joke about that. But what am I saying that's different from that?
That's a joke, right?
Okay. Don't joke, because everybody around here seems to be getting something under the table. So don't joke about it.
If the Desmond is correct, 110% correct. If you could find $35 million to buy a trash of an international bazaar that you ain't going to stock out and refurbish yourself, to turn around and have to sell it to somebody else. They didn't swing them people a couple of months ago and all that stuff they're supposed to fix in the OBville Skim Center.
Now, we don't know if that's what's going to happen, so I don't know.
That's what they say. What happened to the airport in Bimini that they say they're supposed to fix for those people down there? What happened to the airport, Laverne, they're talking about now? Huh? If you could find that kind of money, and you mean you can't fix them people house like Desmond say from us about 10 hurricane ago? Come on, man, right? Both administrations, successive administration, they jive and they joking and they taking the Bahamian people with donkeys. Thanks for taking my call.
You haven't heard me say anything different, so I don't know what you all hear. You want to paint a picture. I don't know why, but carry on smartly, Bahamian people. But yeah, we all agree that this is a game that we keep hearing the same thing over and over and over and over. Change is going to come. We're going to abandon the status quo. And yet here we are, year after year after year.
And here we are. And so for me, I can't get excited about announcements. I don't have it in me to get excited about those things. I want to see things actually happening.
Yeah. Well, don't hold your breath.
Because to be honest, what are we really doing here?
One more call.
What's happening?
And then we want to move on to something else after a break. But good morning, call. You're on the air.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Hello?
Hi, yes, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
Good morning.
Voice of the North. Yeah, man, Dwight, I don't believe you get no deal.
Oh, don't
so
even bring this up again.
Oh,
my Lord. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you get no deal.
Oh, wow. Twice.
I listened to you now for 12 years. I think you get no deal. But Dwight, I really believe our government's getting something of the deal, though. Because hey, for the time for all these years we was talking, Dwight, right? You Dwight, what time Guardian Radio come on the radio, Dwight? Nothing.
The dump is not on fire.
Because these people are only interested in managing the status quo. They will come and have with all these highfalutin conversations and talks, right? But their only true purpose is to keep what they made in place, right? That's what they keep showing us. I mean, being people, we need the luck. I believe we really was indoctrinated as people to see things and pretend that what we see ain't what we see. Because it's so clear to see that our government have no interest in developing this country. Why it takes so long? 51 years? Why would it take so long for them to continue putting things in place that is needed for a country to operate? Why? Because these people have no interest in doing it. Right? You guys have a wonderful, safe weekend. And continue on with the good work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You too. I don't know if they don't have an interest, but they don't know how to do it. And I'm telling you all, I've been telling you all for years, until we decentralize the government and put more of the decision-making in the hands of the people on these islands, things will not change in any noticeable way. If Grand Bahama was a semi-autonomous state within I'm going to speak this into existence. The Federal Republic of the Bahamas, it would be a very different story. It would be a very different story. Until then, it won't really get better. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I can't relate to desperation. Might give a damn or on vacation. And I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling when they act this way. I know I got him. Too bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in and dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfume for you. Yes, I know I'm not into it.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC. Are you buying a home, renovating, or exploring mortgage options? With cash back and up to 90% financing, we'll find the perfect mortgage for you. Pre-qualify in just 60 seconds and get connected with a mortgage specialist today. Visit rbc.com/mortgages/all of you. RBC. Conditions apply.
.46, time for your first good traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee auto loan with up to 100% financing. Just letting you know about East Bay Street is working on just east of the bridge, and so that's been causing some traffic issues. They're preparing the road for paving, but also there's been work happening there. So keep that in mind. It will affect you a lot in your afternoon, evening commute as well. In your real-time traffic this morning, we're looking at heavy traffic on Marla Butler Highway, as usual. Well south of the Fire Trail roundabout, heavy traffic northbound toward Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. That's happening right now. But over on Glasson Road, it looks a little bit better for you, more manageable, only about midway between Fire Trail and John F. Kennedy Drive in the roundabout with Bahamas Boulevard, where you notice that slow-moving traffic ahead of you. Blue Hill Road is another story, though. It's busy near St. Vincent and especially near Carmichael. And as you get north of Soldier Road on the way to the roundabout with Independence Drive. East Street also busy just north of that Soldier Road intersection on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway and straight through to the intersection with Robinson Road. Further east, Robinson Road is busy for you. Well, actually, it's not that bad. It's further east where you're going to see the issues with Prince Charles Drive and Beatrice Avenue. It's very busy east and west of the Beatrice Avenue intersection, especially if you're heading westbound east and west of that intersection, heavy traffic there. And then we've got Eastern Road just west of Fox Hill Road to about Johnson Road. You can see that traffic, slow-moving traffic for you westbound this morning. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/carloan/all of you for more information. And it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got streaming tropical moisture and troughing that continues to support bouts of showers and thunderstorms over portions of the islands today, mainly the central and southeast Bahamas. Boaters should be alert for waterspout activity, and flooding the flooding risk remains high in low-lying and flood-prone areas, especially areas already inundated with water. And we're expecting a scorcher of a day today heading into the holiday. Everybody should remain hydrated, especially in the northwest Bahamas, and limit outdoor exposure as we're expecting a day with triple-digit heat indices. So for today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for partly cloudy, warm, and humid conditions with isolated showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeast Bahamas, variably cloudy, warm, and humid with widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Showers could be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Temperatures today getting up to around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. But as we said, triple-digit heat indices will make it feel like it's 101 Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a moist and unstable air mass along with a lot of active weather across the country. Southwesterly wind flow will stream more tropical moisture across the area, and that's going to mean muggy conditions for the weekend. And everybody should take precautions to remain hydrated and cool and stay out of the sun. So for Labor Day tomorrow, Friday, partly to mostly cloudy, very warm and humid with scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly across the southeast Bahamas and portions of the central islands. Isolated showers and thunderstorms across the northwest Bahamas. And for Saturday, variably cloudy, very warm, humid with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, again, mainly the central and southeastern islands with isolated showers and thunderstorms over the northwest Bahamas. The tropics are thankfully quiet still. Tropical cyclone formation not expected through the next 7 days. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Do you think you can't afford a new electric vehicle? Well, think again. Easy Car Sales has many models of affordable EVs competitively priced to suit your pocketbook and your lifestyle. And every electric car comes with your personal home charger. There's an EV waiting for you at Easy Car Sales. Find it on easy242.com.
Now let me see now. 326 ETIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from around the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 Epic. We ship also to the Family Island.
At Winnie's, we are different. We don't just use beef, it's
Fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Serve tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Doctors Hospital has reimagined primary care. We have invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. We understand that your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnoses and true personalized treatment begins. With locations across New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Exuma, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshosp.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. Okay, so I want to get through the last few messages and we want to get to some other issues that came out in the budget debate yesterday. So this texter says, it's amazing how Guardian Radio eclipsed 4 prime ministers. Is that the right word? Yet the sycophants will still call the station biased. The caller is right, though. What has changed? I think that's changed. We don't talk about the dump fires anymore, and that's great.
I guess we're taking a win wherever we get it, right?
Yeah, the garbage isn't on fire. Give me a few minutes. I'll think of some other ones. But the core issues, still there. But sadly, for most of the world, the core issues remain for everybody. Yeah. This texter says, Grand Bahama is going to cause the government the election. They can get farm tractors into Cat Island, but they can't get one into Exuma, which is growing faster than any other island. Okay. Okay.
I think they mean, because first I was like, what? Grand Bahamas? I was trying to figure it out. But I think maybe they
island
mean...
hopping.
Yeah, no, I think maybe they mean them focusing on Grand Bahamas so much because then they, brought up the fact that Exuma needs what Exuma needs. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
I'm thinking that it would, they probably mean that.
This texter says, my question to both of you is, do you think it would be workable if the government partnered with some of the folks in the web game? What do we call that now? On gambling business to operate the casino in Freeport.
I was so lost when you said the web
right.
game.
Spider-Man.
I was like, what?
We don't call it that anymore. Until the government gets a sale for the hotel. But why would they do that?
Why?
I'm sure if they thought it was a good idea, they would have proposed it already, and they would have gotten their wish. You know how it goes. I'm sure.
But I don't think that they want to.
Was that casino ever doing well? I don't think.
It did not see the success that, let's say, Princess Casino saw.
Yeah. It's a little playful in there, no? Or is it the last time I went there? No, I mean, it's not like a...
Right, I can't even remember.
From what I remember, I just thought it was... It's like if children were allowed to gamble in a casino, they'd be in here. That's my impression the last time I saw it.
That was the impression.
It just wasn't like, the moody, dark, smoky type places that the gamblers seem to love. It wasn't like that. Maybe they're going for something different.
I've been to casinos outside of the Bahamas, and I've never encountered a smoky, dark one. But okay.
Oh, okay. Well.
I mean, in the movies, maybe, but, not in real life.
I am trapped in movies, clearly. Good morning. You're on the air.
Morning again, Dwight.
Hi.
Dwight, you know what's so sad that all this money be bouncing around? I forgot to say this the first time. 35 million here all around the world traveling and stuff like that. Do you know, Dwight, they had feed the patients in the hospital yesterday tuna and bread? The hospital, it's been coming on for months, now weeks and months. They've been running out of food already. Yesterday, Dwight and Laverne, the hospital completely, by 9:30, ran out of meat. You think that's right, Dwight?
That's awful. And we heard
what
a lot.
What is them doing? Pardon me?
We heard a lot of horror stories from the doctors on yesterday with us. The CPSA talking about what they're going through. And
Right, they completely ran out of meat. The cafeteria had to close. They had no meat in the hospital. Who is responsible for monitoring that and ordering that, Dwight? I just wanted to get that out there. And we all about flying all over the place and traveling this way and spending $35 million for trash, and the people, the patients and the customers hospital can't eat. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Thank you very much. As we get to the break, the Prime Minister says that they had little success on inflation, admitting that government measures have failed to drive down prices. But he says that they're going to try something else, pointing to what other countries are doing, the successes they are having, and trying to see if they can implement that here with the National Trade Facilitation Committee, which will oversee the Bahamas' overall trade environment, saying that in other countries, the World Bank data showing that countries that have committees like this, that this can have a big impact on reducing the cost for ordinary Bahamians. Are we optimistic? How do we feel about this? Okay. See, I guess that's the answer. We'll see. We'll believe it.
About that?
We'll believe it when we see it, right? We'll believe it when we see it. I guess that's all we can say. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
But we hope something is done, and it's everything, not just prices for goods and stores, just everything, services, so many things, just out of whack, it seems. And we have to get it together. We'll be back after the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh, is it that sweet I kiss so? Say you can't sleep, baby, I know. Does that mean espresso? Move it up, down, left, right, oh. Switch it up like Nintendo. Say you does that mean espresso? I can't relate to desperation. Might give a damn. Are on vacation, and I got this one boy, and he won't stop calling when they act this way. I know I got him. So bad your ex don't do it for you. Walked in and dream came true for you. Soft skin and not perfumed for you. Yes, I know I'm Mountain Dew for you. Yes, that morning coffee brewed for you. Yes, one touch and I'm brand new for you. Now he's thinking about me every night. Oh.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. And now at 8:23, it is time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Here's what's happening as we head into the weekend, the holiday weekend. We've got streaming tropical moisture and troughing that continues to support bouts of showers and thunderstorms over portions of the islands. That will continue through tonight. There is a risk, though, for severe weather over mainly the central and southeast Bahamas over the next few days. And boaters should be alert for waterspout activity. Flooding is likely in low-lying and flood-prone areas, especially in areas already inundated with water. And for the northwest Bahamas, we're expecting some pretty hot days. Everyone should remain hydrated and limit outdoor sun exposure as triple-digit heat indices are expected. So for today, for the northwest Bahamas, partly cloudy, warm and humid with isolated showers and thunderstorms. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, variably cloudy, warm and humid with widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. Showers may be heavy and thunderstorms strong to severe at times. Temperatures today getting back up into the 90s, highs around 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. But as we said, triple-digit heat indices will make it feel like it's 101 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. As we head into the weekend, the holiday weekend, a moist and unsettled will continue to support bouts of active weather across the central and southeast Bahamas. Southwesterly wind flows will stream more tropical moisture across the area, resulting in muggy conditions. And everybody should try to remain well hydrated and cool. So for tomorrow, Randall Fox Labor Day, look for partly mostly cloudy conditions, very warm and humid, with scattered showers and thunderstorms across the southeast and portions of the central Bahamas. Isolated showers and thunderstorms for the northwest Bahamas. Saturday, variably cloudy, very warm and humid again, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms mainly across the central and southeastern islands. Isolated showers and thunderstorms possible over the northwest Bahamas. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected over the next 7 days. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints has got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in-store today. And at 8:26, time for another check of your traffic for today, brought to you by RBC. Get a no-fee auto loan with up to 100% financing. Again, reminding you about East Bay Street, the work that's going on just to east of the bridge, the older Paradise Island Bridge, as they prepare for paving. That is causing some issues there, so keep that in mind. Slow-moving traffic and at times single-lane traffic as they work in the area. That might impact especially your afternoon, evening commute today, as it did yesterday in the past few days. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing some slow-moving traffic on Mackey Street, northbound mainly. And on Eastern Road, from about Fox Hill to Johnson Road, if you're heading westbound. Prince Charles Drive, as you approach Beatrice Avenue, still very heavy traffic westbound. Although Robinson's looking pretty good, unusually, at this hour. Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic from Carmichael straight through to the roundabout with Independence Drive northbound. And Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, heavy traffic east and westbound between Bahamas Games Boulevard and Milo Butler Highway. And Milo Butler Highway, as usual, from well south of Bellot Road straight through to that roundabout with Tawny Williams-Darling Highway. Slow-moving traffic for you northbound. Gladstone Road is going to be a much better alternate route for you, but still busy as you're about midway between Fire Trail and John F. Kennedy Drive if you're heading northbound. Slow-moving traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic. And your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. Visit rbc.com/carlo/all of you for more information.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And it is day 2 of our Labor Week series. And avid listeners know that every week before Labor Day, we have labor union leaders and representatives from the Ministry of Labor, Department of Labor on with us as well, often a director or often the minister. But today we're doing something a little bit different. Very pleased to have with us, we have the chief negotiator within the Ministry of Public Service and Labor, Bernard Evans. Good to see you again, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
And we have Archdeacon James Palacios, who's a mediator in the Labor Relations Unit in that same ministry, Public Service and Labor. Good morning, sir, in a different capacity this morning.
Good
Great
morning.
to have you with us.
Good to be here.
All right, so tell us about this Labor Relations Unit. What is it tasked to do?
Actually, the Labor Unit, I think I joined January of 2022. I think, Father, you was just before that, around the same time.
Same time.
Around the same time. It comprises Sindira Bain, who's the manager. We have another mediator, Freddie Munnings, and a senior negotiator, Mr. Lester Turnquist. We've recently been joined by Paul Maynard, former president of BPL Union. But we are charged with harmonization of the unions that are directly related with the government, particularly the public service. Recently has been expanded to cover all quasis or any fraction where they may receive. We try to harmonize relations there. There were a number of industrial agreements that were outstanding, some as far back as 2012. And so we were charged with trying to bring them up to par. And so hence we've been doing that in the last year and a half, to bring them to fruition.
Yeah.
We have been successful, I think, at 27 industrial agreements. And we have about 3 or 4 more pending, just ready to sign, at least 2 of them. Ready to sign, save for a few, 1 or 2 articles that needs to be addressed. And but overall, just the harmonization to ensure that the union leaders or unions have access to the various ministries with their issues, and to see if we can mediate them and mitigate through as best as we can those relations. So primarily, in a nutshell, that's what we do.
And Archdeacon Palacios, what's that like being a mediator? Things can get very, very excitable, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, of course, as a priest for 48 years, that's kind of what we do on a regular basis. Normally, we mediate between God and humans. But even in your regular course of your priestly or pastoral duties, you do that. But in a more formal way, I got myself trained from 2000 by the ILO and subsequent courses. I'm a certified mediator or arbitrator at the Chartered Institute out of England. But apart from that, it is a joy to be able to do this, to make a contribution. And of course, not having been in the formal labor union setup, I'm able to take a different perspective, although I've been associated with arbitration and mediation for years. But it's a great, another form of ministry to be able to do it.
I imagine. All right, so Bernard Evans, of course.
I have a question, Dwight.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
For Father Palacios, I'm very curious. What prompted you to maybe go in this direction? Was it because of some of the duties and responsibilities that you had as a priest, or like what prompted you to go this route?
Like I say, this is something I normally do in a regular day as a pastor, as a priest. But the ILO was doing a course here in 2000, and I thought that, this is something that I would like to do formally. I seized the opportunity, I've done it, and since then I've continued other courses that equip me for a day like this. I'll be 72 next week, so I was preparing for my retirement. This is something I see myself doing into the future, even as I assist with the process.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. So,
but
Bernard,
let me correct myself, Dwight.
Yes.
I said father, and it's Archdeacon.
Oh, that's fine.
Let me just publicly correct myself.
Your sins are forgiven. I prefer father anyway. People don't know what Archdeacon means.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's good.
So, Bernard Evans, of course, everyone knows that you were a trade unionist for many years.
Absolutely.
I guess for some, once a trade unionist, always, hey?
Always, yes.
But let's talk about it. So, I get you'd be considered a consultant,
Yes.
basically. We know that's come up quite a bit in the last few days since the budget communication about consultants and the money that the government's paying to consultants. A lot of people have questions about why we're doing this. What do you say to people who question this when there are people who are working in these departments and ministries? Why bring back folks to be consultants and pay them?
Well, actually, I don't purport to speak for the government, but I can tell you this much. I did try to learn as much as I can about what's going on. I read the dailies. I listen to the debates in the House. The consultants for pertaining to labor and the public service predominantly has a lot to do with the apprenticeship program. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the statutory obligations surrounding that, it calls for a lot of consultations. Okay, and that program itself that the ministry wants to roll off this year really call for a lot of data input, a lot of know-how, and I think they made provisions in there for consultants to ensure that is carried out. Also, it's going to be expanded to all ministries who also have to lend as information is gathered towards how we roll out that apprenticeship program. Also, and I guess we'll get into this later too, a part of this too is the government BOLD initiative, which I applaud. The salaries of public servants wide is predominantly lower than it should be. Mm-hmm. And that also called for a number of consultations because it has to be data-driven. The government must know and have empirical data to spit out and then how to really fund and get to the desired salaries for the public servants. Mm-hmm. And so these will call for a number of consultations. And I guess that's the rise in the budget line item for the increase for it. That's what I was told.
Mm-hmm. So the public who will question it, who don't get it and think this is a way to reward people or to abuse the purse. What do you have to say to people who are concerned about it?
Yeah, well, I would hope not. I mean, for the lack of it, but you don't have the information, it's fine. But I mean, we understand where you could take a position when there's lack of transparency or information. Mm-hmm. But I think what the opportunity to speak directly or have the information shared with them so they can see exactly where these consultants will be coming from, where it's earmarked for. Mm-hmm. And that has been the information I have received and that I have seen. Some may say otherwise, but that's I stand on that. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Right.
You mentioned the salary review, and of course, last week when it was announced, some people were confused. What does that mean exactly? Is it $10 million just to conduct an exercise, or will that include the actual upgrades in the salaries? And apparently, the Prime Minister clearing that up, saying that it will include that. Yeah. But let's talk about that. Okay. How much of a difference is it between the public and private sector?
Well, it's a big difference. Mm-hmm. It is a big difference. When coming into this, and of course, I came from the private sector with BTC, pretty much, where you could have a janitress or a tea lady. I'm not trying to, look down on the work that they did, but their salary was around $40,000 per annum. All right, and when I went into the public service and looking at their records, I see PSs and stuff whose increment value was just $1,000. I negotiated contracts for technicians just coming out of high school whose increment value was, $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 annually. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at those comparisons, I said, wow, these people are underpaid. I couldn't believe the salaries that I've seen for some of these. And qualified, if you look at the financial officers, and I'm sorry to go all over the place here, if you look at the financial officers, those who have accounting degrees and what have you, some of them certified. Mm-hmm. When you look at what they make in the public service, in the private sector, it's miles and miles of differences. So if you remember, I started this talk about livable wage.
Right.
And at that time, it was this was 15 years ago. It was we needed a single family needed about $500-600 a week to make it in this country, and now to see that the government is looking nationwide at the public servants and to look at their disparity. I heard the Prime Minister's speech. He gave an example about the police officer and the starting salary at $18,000 and now it's at $20,000. It should have been maybe 24, and I venture to say 24 is a little bit too low.
That's pretty low.
And when you're trying to retain talent within the government ministries and stuff like that, is desperately needed. I don't know what it would take to get all the data, like I said before, to put this out there, but it must be done. Bahamas is a very expensive place to live. We do have a talent drain where people are drawn to go elsewhere in the world. Some, like one of my sons, did not come back from Canada for the opportunities and the pay rates. We had the challenge with the nurses, of course, and our teachers. And so we really need to get the salaries up comparison to what it is required, commensurate to the work that they do and for the qualifications that they have. And so,
but is the public service too large to pay people what they they are owed and deserve?
You know what? As they bring in new processes like the cloud, the new Oracle system, once they get more modernized, and I believe we can now kind of get a good picture of are we really overstaffed? In some instances, there are some persons, some divisions may be understaffed, and some they are overstaffed. But there has to be a manpower study done holistically to really look at the picture. And there may be an argument to say we are overstaffed, but I can guarantee they're non-customs. All right, customs need a lot of personnel, more men. Not to be chauvinistic, but apparently there's a call for more men than women in the new tranches of hirees. So to say that it's understaffed, well, ask customs. They will tell you, no, we need more people. Right. But they may be overstaffing in other areas. I think there's definitely a conversation around that and maybe justification to say that they're overstaffing in some aspect of public service.
Father, you
and of course, any kind of research or consultation ought to reveal through data whether this is in fact the case. So let's give the process an opportunity to work. And having worked rather closely with the civil service for the last almost 3 years, I can say we have some extremely hard-working civil servants who work despite the little salary that they get, especially when you compare with the private sector. So I just want to say kudos, hats off, and congratulations to those hard-working persons. And we just need to respect people more. We Bahamians don't respect our own. For example, when we go to access goods and services at a private place, our behavior is very different from when we go to access goods and services from a government. You know, we almost want to rough up the people. Oh, I paying you. When you go to Royal Bank, you paying them too. Yeah, it's a more direct payment from the public treasury. But let's face it, we need to do something about the salaries and to thank them for their service.
I agree with you. I've seen that before, but you do have the situations where people are acting like they can't be removed or fired.
Oh, no doubt about that.
So that does cause you to change your attitude toward them.
Of course.
And so that still remains a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you've had some experience, Bernard, to really understand the manpower needs and to get this review conducted.
Let me lay over like this. Every year, at least with the BCPO, we had to do an annual report, audited report. And the auditor, when I wonder, well, how long are you going to be here? Well, it depends on the information coming forward and how long that takes. So I guess it pegs to how long it would take for those who are consulted or those who are been hired to do this process to get all of the information. And this is a slow ship to public services. The process is, I've learned that coming here that this is really not you push of a button, you get information. I am not educated enough on this matter to say how long it would take. I think what I've heard is to get it started, to get all of the players involved, all of the stakeholders involved, get the unions, the worker representatives involved, that once everybody's on the same page, knowing what information needs to be gathered, and then the ship would start to sail a little bit faster, and they should be able to have it resolved. But I know this intention of the minister and the prime minister to try to get it done so that it would be on the table for review and for full discussion by the wider public soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Our text line is always quite something. People saying, "Wow, the example you gave with the tea ladies and the janitresses, 40,000 sounds like they were overpaid." Oh boy.
Well, but you want me to address that?
Yeah, sure.
I can say this much, right? When you are part of a union and you don't separate the scales of persons, over time you would negotiate. Every 3 years you get an opportunity to negotiate a contract. They are part of that grouping. We say they're not technical or clerical. All right, they were just part of the team, and so every time we were able to negotiate a contract, they saw their salary increase. And mind you, their tenure of service also plays into that. So you'll find that these persons would have been on the job at that particular salary at least 30 years or more at the time. So it ballooned over the time with part of negotiations. Wow. However, though, I would easily say whether you're a janitress or a tea lady or not, $40,000 a year in the Bahamas is perhaps what you need to have a decent life in this country. Mm-hmm. So notwithstanding what it is should you do, it is very tough to live in this country.
Definitely something has to be done. People pointing out that teachers don't even make that,
Exactly.
and how we have to address this as soon as possible.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
In fact, I was appalled to see how low some of the salaries really are. And hopefully, over the course of time, after the data is in, we could do something. And of course, we call upon all public servants, too, to step up your game, adopt the right attitude, knowing that the public is there deserving and desiring good treatment and good service, and let's all work together. We agree. I say, especially teachers. Teachers get paid weekly, very weekly.
Oh boy, indeed.
Right. Especially nurses and teachers.
Yep, as we heard.
Let's do something about it.
As well, everybody. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a whole lot more to talk about, including how frequently people should be paid. This seems like this is going to be the next hot potato issue. We'll get into that when we continue with Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Keep your love lights burning and a little food hot in my plate. You might as well get used to me coming home a little late. Oh, I work to do. I got a job, babe. I got work to do. I got work to do. I got work.
Doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. Mm-hmm. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. Mm-hmm. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
RBC. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure. RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello. This Epic Eckert battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker. And he can
326 Epic. We ship also to the Family Island.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org/Caribbean.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Ignite your leadership capabilities, expand your vision, and chart the path to a bright future at the CIBC Caribbean Ignite Leadership Conference, 27th of June at Bahamas from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Join Sarah Kunst, a venerated entrepreneur who has worked at Apple and Red Bull. Sarah is a Forbes 30 Under 30 Future Innovator and has been honored by the Wall Street Journal. Also hear about the leadership journey of Anthony Ferguson and Crystal Rutherford Ferguson. This event is designed for senior business executives and seasoned entrepreneurs. Register at cibcfcib.com/ignite to secure your space. Only successful registrants will be acknowledged. Join us for the Ignite Leadership Conference, June 27th at Bahamas.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong, along with Laverne Gardner, and it's our Labor Week series. We're talking with Bernard Evans and Archdeacon Father James Palacios with us this morning, representing the Ministry of Public Service and Labor. All right, so again, the Prime Minister announced that they plan on moving people away from monthly salary payments to biweekly, bi-monthly. We're all using the two terms interchangeably, but twice a month, basically. The pros and cons. We're hearing the union leaders saying they haven't been consulted as yet. But how much of a difference will this make?
I think from a very practical perspective, you're getting your money more regularly, and hopefully people would be able to budget more properly. And it could make a difference in terms of there's always a bottleneck in certain institutions where people go at the end of the month. You check road traffic, you check customs, you check whatever government services. Well, whatever business there is always this balloon of activity at the end of the month. Hopefully that would be reduced somewhat as people get paid. You see me on the 15th, man, and on the 30th, something like that. But again, the unions are saying, at least one union is saying, they ought to have been consulted. I think we agree. If they hadn't been, then it would have been a good idea for them consulted to show the implications of it.
If you hadn't been consulted, Bernard Evans, how would you react to that?
Absolutely. You wouldn't hear the end of that. But listen, that is the one thing since taking over, at least being a part of the LRU, there has been a lack of, how should I say, respect to union leadership about their involvement and engagement. We've been agitating and trumpeting this cause for all across the public service and quasi to please engage the union representatives. We must be a part of the dialogue. It's deepening. As a matter of fact, the tripartite model must fit as the ILO instructed. You really need worker representative, government, and employees to always meet and discuss things before the members hear it. That has been the hardest pill for union leaders to swallow.
Can't hear it at the same time.
When a member can tell you Well, I hear this and I've been told this and blah, 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 and they don't know. That They get second-hand information. But we've been working on that. I think it has been acknowledged. It is keep on evolving. Some ministries do better than others. Some departments do better than others with respect to the engagement. But we are working on it. Minister Pia Glover has asked us to please, as much as we can, to try to engage union leaders, what's going on, as best as we can. And so we will continue to work on that. That is a glaring concern, and that whomever that union is, I could almost say that they perhaps are right. We really need to engage the union leadership more so they can be part of the discussion and be able to share. Because members do run as they trust union leaders or the union to do right by them with their conditions on the job. They go to them for their opinions and stuff like that. And so if I can't tell you, advise you, so we will continue to work towards that. That is one of our mandate too. Again, this harmonization and to keep the unions involved as best we can.
Yeah. And there's respect. Sometimes personalities get in the way of these things, and sometimes it's difficult for public servants to deal with public servants because they have so-called history with persons. And that's where the unit comes in. Labor Relations Unit comes in to say, look here, we are the mediators, we have no axe to grind, we are put here for the harmonization of relationships in the workplace.
I want to ask you about what came up yesterday. We had the Trade Union Congress with us yesterday, and they're saying they've met with the Prime Minister, various unions, and the Prime Minister said, no, that's not right, we need to do this. But when they go back to the negotiating table, the minister or the director or the PS is saying something totally different. What's happening? What do you make of that? And what needs to happen to fix that?
Father, let me handle this one.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Listen, number one, I want to applaud all union leaders. Hats off to Obi Ferguson and CUC and the good work that he's doing. The NCTUB and the newest Congress. I know the Berlin is off in the ILO in Switzerland at the moment. Happy Labor Day to all of you. This is a thankless job. Oftentimes, though, and this seems to be my observation. Father may have a different one, but it seems to be my observation. The Prime Minister has said in numerous meetings, every meeting, that he is pro-union, pro-worker, pro-labor. He said that. He has opened up his office and said, if you have any concerns, you could reach me. Minister Pia Glover has taken the same posture, that she is available, she's want to meet and discuss with unions any particular issue. We have experience where down at the board level or those who have to carry out such instructions, this is where the rubber meets the road and this is where the contention lies.
Yep.
And that is we have made recommendations, Father, and I want you could bring in I'm done. We have made recommendations after recommendations that certain persons you have to make ensure that they are carrying out the mandate from that of the leader of the nation. And there seemed to be a disconnect in the instructions given from the top, and now to have that come to fruition is where we've been having some problems. Not in every space, but definitely in enough that warrants an audit of those persons who are placed in those positions, who may be anti-union or not wanting to carry out the terms and conditions that have been hammered out or instructions sent down from the head. And so, again, along with the involvement of the union in the debate we talked about earlier, that's too is an Achilles heel for us, and we continue to work towards that and improving that relations.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally. Insofar as you have human beings implementing anything, you're going to have these problems. And of course, like I said, personalities get in the way. But that's why the unit continues to work closely with the unions. What are the issues? You tell us the issues, and we will make the type of representation that you've already tried to make on your own. But that's part of our remit. Let's get it done. Harmonization. People need to feel respected by all, by the workers, by the management needs to be respected as well. Workers need to be respected. The public needs to be respected. And let's see how we could build a better Bahamas.
Yeah. Laverne, you're saying...
Mr. Evans, I have a question. So do you believe in these instances when this happens, it is just a matter of the people on the ground who you may have to deal with in the day-to-day? They're simply not carrying out the instructions given by the Prime Minister? Or is it a situation where those instructions have not reached them, other than perhaps maybe they heard him say publicly or whatever that I'm in support of the union and know this cannot happen and this ought not to happen, or whatever the situation may be, but they don't have anything concrete or anything documented to say this is what you're supposed to do?
Oftentimes, madam, and thanks for your question. Oftentimes, you have written, agreed industrial agreements that is in black and white, and they, for some reason, feel that they're not obligated to carry it out. And so we find ourselves at the Department of Labor going through conciliations after conciliations where it is written, it's written, not even wearing them out. But coming down from the Prime Minister, as you said, and from the Minister at times, a lack of execution of those instructions that I personally have experienced. There has to be, again, an audit of those persons. And I stress this and I'll stress it again. And now I have this platform, at least on
break that down into regular terms.
Yeah,
when you say audit, what does that mean?
Well, listen, I think when you're in charge of a board, and your greatest asset is your people, the employees. And if they have a written industrial agreement or written agreement to do anything, you should carry that out. You should not have a personal view of what you think should happen, or this was before your time and all that stuff. You know, you come and you go. But these industrial agreements are enshrined, they are registered, and these are law documents, and you should carry them out. I think this election process, and this, again, not for everyone, you have to have some knowledge about, if you're going in a unionized environment, you should have some degree of understanding of what it means to be in that environment. It's not a dictatorship anymore. You have to live by the terms and conditions of the industrial agreement. Granted, it may have happened before your time or whatever, but you are binded by that. The government is binded by it, and it should float. Lastly, there may be some, I think, as Father alluded to, we do make recommendations, and we want some of our, maybe we need more teeth, right, to continue, if you want a good landscape of good growth and harmonization with the unions. Some people need to be replaced, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Some people actually just need to back out of the way because of their personality. They just have this you're
talking about the boards, the ministries, or the unions?
I think more board appointments, appointees and stuff like that. I think there should be some kind of revisiting. You know, people go through, you have an observational period. Mm-hmm. After 1 year or so, if you find that this person is wanting, then maybe we should make that change.
Or if not at the board level, at certain levels of management, because the management personnel are the ones who implement the tenets of the industrial agreement. And sometimes there is some pushback there, but you have no choice. When an agreement is negotiated, concluded, signed, and registered, you have to obey it.
Yeah.
Simple, you have no choice. I don't care who you don't like or whatever it is. And if the government says, we want to sign this, then they must provide the money and the wherewithal. It's up to you to provide the personnel to effect.
Leaders yesterday were saying that, again, the Prime Minister said this is fine, but they've been told when they get back to the table, no, and without any reason. Is that normal? Shouldn't you get a reason why we can't do this at this time? Or what is acceptable and what's not acceptable?
I have to take each issue by itself. I can't really throw everything in one basket and call it that. Mm-hmm. There may have been, I'm sure there have been instances where we have had that kind of pushback. And then more clarity needs to be provided, more information. Sometimes the Prime Minister may not have gotten all the information. Sometimes when he's given information, the one thing I could say about him, he always favors lean on the side of workers. Whatever's best to work it out for them. Okay, and so again, we continue to work on it. We understand there may be some changes for us to continue to, again, deepen into democracy and have the union respected and have all of the tenets of the agreements carried out.
We're running out of time, but callers, we'll get to you in just a second. I just want to ask you about this. We know that this happens a lot. The industrial agreement expires, and you're working for years without one. Why is that so? Why does that happen so frequently? What's the issue there?
But any number, that could be a combination of things. Like I said, when we first started out in December of 2022, we had one that had expired in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was successive governments. Union leaders change every 3 years. And politically, they change office every 5 years. All right. So, so often,
or 4.5.
Yeah. So oftentimes, there's this interruption in the negotiating favor. But let me just say before we go.
So we need to get all those to line.
Let me say this now. I'm gonna say this: unions. And I got to give it, we are very, very patient people. Every time we see a union demonstrate, this is not something that happened yesterday. It happened in some cases 10 years, 15 years down the road. But workers or employees are owed so much based on industrial agreement, have not yet been satisfied. But yet they sit and they work through it. Some people have died with benefits owing.
Yeah.
And still, then their kids or their dependents can't really recognize such.
My goodness.
But we continue to press, and that's why I applaud unions. I don't ever take off my union hat. It is the way to go, and the climate seems to be burgeoning. As I understand, there's at least 5 more unions pending to become new unions to come in the fray. And so this kind of work continues. It's a thankless job. However, the negotiating process, we need more teeth to drag the employees to the table. For instance, this is one, I wouldn't call them because I understand they're now at the table, but it took them 25 years after recognition.
Wow.
After recognition, And so this kind of thing in this modern day Bahamas should not continue.
My goodness. All right. Callers, we'll get to you in just a moment. Folks, stay tuned because in our next hour, Kimsley Ferguson with the Bahamas Public Service Union, he'll be on with us. He's out there. He's taking notes already. I don't know what that's all about. But we'll get to Kimsley in a bit. But let's take this call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
You're...
Mr. Evans and Mr. Palacios.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Evans, did you hear on the news, on the Guardian News this morning, where Madam President of the Teachers Union was saying that the government, the Prime Minister, did not sit down and talk to them about this every 2 weeks' pay or something like that, and some of the stuff, but they have planned for the public service. I agree with you, and I disagree with Mr. Palacios when Mr. Palacios say not the board, but the management. I think it's all two, management and the board. First, Dwight asked you what you mean when you say audit. You say they let their personal feelings get in the way on doing their job. And I agree with you. I won't care further than audit. I think evaluation or some kind of, like you say, probation to check out, see, because the job is be so hard sometimes, different from their attitude or them not understanding what service is all about. It is be a straining job sometimes, so they either need help or some kind of break. Because sometimes, if you don't do that, all kind of stuff can happen. Miss Gardner, good morning. Last week, Thursday, you make all us listen to the Prime Minister office and stuff like that, and we ain't get to hear your view yet, and you was only come on every Thursday or what all happened. And I wonder how Father Palacios would have dealt with the issue if he would have stopped it with the financial secretary talking about it.
We don't have time to go over that again. But,
yes, I'm saying that you call me a liar. How Palacios would have tell him to deal with it. How Palacios would have deal with it, because that's what his job is there, to negotiate and make sure it's peace. How you would have deal with it.
Bob.
Some of these people are too power drunk, Mr. Palacios, so it should be ways. You might disagree with me, but I just want to know how you would deal with what happened last week.
I don't know. I
did
can't
you watch
go down
it,
that
Ms.
rabbit
Gardner?
hole.
Did you watch it?
Everybody in the world saw that, I think. But Father, you don't have, if you want, but yeah.
No. We have other things. We have live issues to deal with. But
absolutely.
you agree, it is a combination of the senior management that don't implement the tenets or the provisions of industrial agreement.
I don't think you can.
And of course, some of the workers disregard it too. So, it goes all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know if you can answer this. This person saying, I'm just wondering why the government has yet to make some people working in the public service for many years permanent and pensionable, especially those working in the public libraries.
I could say, and while I don't speak on behalf of the government, since our time there, and since for the last almost 3 years, the government has really made very conscious effort, and statistics, the data would show that more people have been made P&P, permanent and pensionable, than ever before. And of course, there's a big backlog of all of that, but it's totally unacceptable that people have been working sometimes 5, 10, 15, even 20. People dead and they get their due. That's unacceptable. It's happening slowly, not as quickly as we would like. We need to speed up that process too.
Yeah, I know it's the mandate definitely of the Prime Minister and that of Minister Pierre Glover to ensure to get rid of this the temporary or contractual workers to make sure that they P&P. It's an ongoing process, and like you said, we have witnessed fruits from that already, and continue to do so. And so the reason why it's taken long, well, hopefully they work that out, and so going forward, it won't take as long as that. But apart from all this stuff going on and what the government policies are, to whether it's salary review, whether it's other disciplines of improvements and not involved. You told pretty much that they're trying to gather everything, but they somehow they go and they talk about it, but it's not their intentions to leave the union out. All right, that has been an Achilles heel, like I said, and I continue to keep marching that they try as quickly as they can to bring the union as a part of the discussion. Not to be an obstructionist. The union is not an obstructionist in these matters. They just want to be aware of what's going on and could lend to the process or the processes. And so hopefully they will get to that and to ease that tension. Because that's one of the main issues that I have, that is the unions are not fully engaged as much, and they really could be. But if they carry out the mandate of the Prime Minister and the Minister, I think we'll have, I'm talking about everybody that follow underneath, everybody that has something to do with the implementation of it, we will have a more smoother relations, a more engaged atmosphere with the unions.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
We've got about a minute left. Randall Fox, Labor Day tomorrow. What do you say to the workers out there and to all the people who are participating in the march and just the state of labor in the country today? And
work hard, negotiate hard. As you get better benefits, give better service. The public desires and deserves that. You deserve more yourselves, and let's work together to build a better Bahamas. I'll be on the march. I hope those who might not want to be on the march, be out and support. Because we are supporting not only labor, we are supporting business. We are supporting the advancement and development of our country. You have to also support the people who invest in these businesses as well. We sometimes forget that people invest money in order to make money. And it's when we work together that labor, the tripartite formula, government, labor, and capital, when we work together, it's amazing what we could do.
Yeah.
God bless you all.
Yeah, I just want to add too, hats off again to all the labor union, the leaders and stuff like that, all of the officers. Thank you very much for your patience, because I know that you could make a lot of noise about a lot of things that's going on, but you have exercised patience. We have signed a number of contracts that will expire next year, and so we're hopeful that we're able to get to the table before they all expire next year. Have a wonderful Labor Day. And it always rains. God always send down the blessing. Hopefully it don't rain too much. But we are the LRUs continue to work on your behalf and to try to foster good relations. You do have an ally in the Prime Minister, and he told all of you that if he has met with all of you, I'm sure, and have expressed that. And so hopefully we could cement and more firmly the relations going forward after this Labor Day and Labor Days to come.
Okay.
So congratulations and God bless.
Thank you so much, Bernard Evans and Archdeacon Father James Palacios. Thank you for being here with us this morning with the Labor Relations Unit. Stick around, folks, in business. We're going to be talking with Kimsley Ferguson with the Bahamas Public Service Union. More as we head towards Labor Day. We'll be back after the news. Stay with us.
Applying for a mortgage but don't know where to start? Use these tips to speed up the process. First, visit your bank and get pre-qualified. This is an assessment of your ability to repay. To get pre-qualified, carry a passport, a recent pay stub or verification. If self-employed, 2 months bank statements and a bank reference letter. Ask questions. Is there an application or commitment fee? What will the interest rate be? Are there any closing costs or prepayment penalties? Get smart. GetMoneySmartBahamas.com.
Hey Dunkin' fans of the year, National Donut Day, June 7th. For one day only, Friday, June 7th, enjoy a free donut with the purchase of any drink at Dunkin'. That's right, your favorite coffee, iced tea, or frozen drink gets even better with a delicious donut on the house. Choose from our mouth-watering lineup, classic glazed, chocolate frosted, jelly-filled, and more. There's a perfect donut for everyone. So mark your calendars and head to Dunkin' on June 7th, because at Dunkin', we make every day a little sweeter. Don't miss National Donut Day, Friday, June 7th.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend on this Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Morning Blend Business, Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner. And we continue with our Labor Week series, day 2 here. And in this portion, we are talking with the president of the Bahamas Public Service Union, Kimsley Ferguson. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas. And good morning to all the hardworking public servants and the workers out there. We want to say to you, a happy Labor Day, and we're inviting you to come out and celebrate yourselves on tomorrow, the machinery that keeps this country going.
Oh, wow. All right. We saw you making notes out there while we had our previous guests on. You have a lot to talk about. But let's begin with, of course, the salary issue and pay moving for possibly from monthly to bi-monthly, some say bi-weekly, but twice a month at least. And unions are saying, we heard Belinda Wilson with the teachers union, and you're in the papers today saying that you all were not notified or asked about this at all. Tell us what happened here.
Well, I was really taken aback. Stuff came to my phone, and I tried to get an understanding of what was going on. Because
you mean you found out when we found out last week Wednesday?
I found out when everybody else found out.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so, again, it only lends to the fact that the government of the Bahamas are making some unilateral decisions, having a disregard for the fact that we're stakeholders and we're the sole bargaining agents for public servants. So you don't go doing stuff that's going to affect the terms and conditions of public servants, terms and conditions of public servants without consultation. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people are believing that unions are confrontational, but against the particular, we have to come out snapping and biting when decisions like this are made, because when it happens, either people believe that we are in the pocket of the government and we are aware of what they were going to do, but I want to serve notice, we were not made aware. There's been no discussions. Again, the consultative process has not been engaged, and so I cry shame on the government of the Bahamas, and whoever is advising the Prime Minister, he is a lawyer. He understands trade unionism. He understands that when it comes to terms and conditions, you don't just unilaterally adjust those. So he's breaching our industrial agreement. And I'd really like to say a little bit more on that a little later on.
Okay, so it's not good that you weren't notified, but Is there anything really wrong with this, moving to twice monthly pay? Do you have an issue with that per se?
Well, I will answer the question this particular way. Tell me, how does it benefit either the government or the worker? And so we have some people who are not so good at managing monies. So when you give them less to manage, they appear to be in a greater conundrum of things where the funding appears insufficient. If I was at the debt ratio in my salary and all I was collecting was $500 a month, now you're giving me $250 to pay what needs to be paid. Let's examine the fact that whatever commitments that these individuals would have made are due at a particular time. So now we got to go try to streamline what we have, pay half of the commitment now, and then in the next 2 weeks, pay half of that commitment.
Set out as an adult, you could go and talk to people and get that sorted out.
But that's fine. But what we need to do, what we need to understand is what is the real rationale? Because there has to be some ulterior something in engaging this. I'm certain it's not just to talk about people are going to be having money more frequently. People could save and still have their money. What is the real rationale? And so, again, while it may appear that nothing is wrong with it from that side, if discussions were had, maybe unions could have been supportive of the government in what they wanted to do. But I still say, because I ain't get the revelation yet, but there has to be a motive behind it, because all of a sudden you just want to make a decision to pay people twice monthly. Does it have that much of a great impact on the buoyancy of the local economy? Tell me, what are you trying to accomplish? And we together as partners can arrive at a conclusion that's beneficial for all.
Well, what do you make of what our previous guest said? That at the end of the month, we see it. Every month, the traffic is crazy. The bank lines are long. People are trying to license their car on the 30th, and the line is down the street. And that possibly there will be less chaos around the whole country if people could split things up, do some in the beginning of the month and do some later in the month. And that you won't be living like a pauper by week 4 of the month.
Dwight, you have a number of scenarios given where we have congestion of traffic all over the place. What we can do, split Christmas in half? What we can do, split Easter in half on the dock? What are we going to do?
I don't know if I ever said it on the show, Laverne, but I think people should split the Christmas bonus in half, give you one in July around Independence. And
No, but I'm not even talking money.
That would be great. Wouldn't that be great? You get a bonus in the middle of the year? I think that'd be fantastic. Why don't you join me on that,
But okay, watch this. Watch this. We're talking about the impact that this bi-weekly thing or bi-monthly thing is going to have. Listen, we're talking to traffic congestion. Let's look at the fact that...
One of the issues.
Yeah. Guess what it means now? You got to give them 2 paydays. And so guess what? The public service is going to be losing, because guess what? Sometimes you go there, you're allotted an hour plus your lunch hour to do banking. Dwight, you ever been on the bank line?
Do it online now. This is 2024.
Yeah, listen, but there's some bills. While you could pay some bills online, we have people out there that are not as savvy as others. And so they're going to be challenged with going out there and literally physically applying themselves to do what needs to be done. And so while
It sounds like a them problem.
Well, I agree with you, but let me tell you something. If we're going to do stuff that's going to impact people, then we need to do it incrementally so people can be absorbed into what it is we're trying to do. We're now trying to make this a paperless society. So we need to do some stuff that can make people savvy so that they can apply themselves. And we're not resistant to change, Dwight, but I'm still, and I am in agreement with it until I understand the rationale.
Okay.
Traffic, that don't do it for me, because we have traffic all around here.
I can understand what you're saying in terms of the rationale, because when I heard the announcement, good morning, not being a union person or involved in any union, my first thought was, what is the benefit of this? What is behind this? Is this some way beneficial for the government in terms of how they have to do their processes? So I can appreciate that. But as Dwight said, if it should come, I can appreciate wanting to understand the rationale. And agree with you 100%. If you are considering this and going to do this and doing this review, you need to include all of maybe some things that you perhaps did not consider. But when I think of it in terms of payment, I'm hard pressed to figure out what would be the issue with having your salary done this way biweekly. What would it upset? Because let's say you made arrangements with the bank to have your mortgage taken out at the end of the month because that's when you get paid. Well, you don't necessarily have to change that. It could still be taken out at the end of the month because your payments didn't change. You know that even if you get half of your salary on the 15th, you still need to leave a portion of that in the bank so that it could match the other portion when that comes the end of the month for, you know what I mean?
Or split it. Yeah. Pay half in the middle and half at the end.
Right. But
that might be better for you in any event.
Let's just say you didn't want to have to go in and renegotiate those terms.
It won't cost you to do that.
It could still be done. It could still be done.
Again,
but I get not just jumping on board something, because I always say, and Dwight knows this, the devil is in the details. So I get not just jumping on and supporting something without really knowing the rationale behind it, but I'm just thinking, because I started saying, well, what would be the hindrance? What would be, if it was done bi-weekly, what would be the issue for the employee themselves?
Well, like I said, and I like the comment you made about the devil is in the details, and that's why we need to know. That's why there needs to be some transparency in what we're doing. These are not decisions based on agreements that we would have made, and I have a couple laying out in front of me that's going to speak to some things. These agreements are legal and binding on the government. And so the Bahamas Public Service Union, being the sole bargaining agents for a particular category of public servants, when the terms and conditions are going to be affected in any way or changed, there must be consultation. You cannot take unilateral decisions in that particular regard. And again, you're not going to get me to agree to it simply because you say so. I have to make sure that during the course of the discussions that it pans out in a way that's beneficial for the people that we represent. So I say, tell me what the motive is. I need to know why you're so hell-bent on making this particular adjustment. Something had to move you to this point.
Okay. You've got a lot of issues to talk about, but I know people want to talk about this as well. Let's get these calls in quickly, and then we'll get to some of the other BPSU issues. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Dwight. Good morning to the unionists in the place. Dwight, I'm listening. I heard the government. Good morning, Laverne and Bahamas.
Good morning.
But when I heard this, right, this is a tactic from a financial standpoint from practice decades ago. What it is that when a company is experiencing cash flow problems, moving to 2 week every biweekly increases the payment, the exact same payment, out over 13 months as opposed to 12 months. And this is a financial strategy of government. If government has a cash flow problem where you have to make 12 payments, you now have to make 13 payments by changing it to biweekly. And that could only be my understanding of it. But it creates chaos on the economics of the people. Having worked in banking also, and if the person doesn't have some strong financial discipline, imagine that you're making 12 mortgage payments to make, but now you're getting paid 13 months a year. So you have to now compress that 13 months of your payments into your payments, your salary that you now receive over 13 months when you do the 4 every 2 weeks thing. You now have to financially realign yourself to say, I have 12 months of payments, but now I'm getting paid over 13 months. So it requires some financial gymnastics for certain people who already live on the edge or who has unforeseen emergencies that they would then go and tap into things where they would normally not do it. This is chaos.
Okay.
If you look at it in the purest sense.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Well, I don't know. My first 2 jobs were when I went to my next 2 jobs were monthly. That was the biggest adjustment for me to make. That was.
So we agreed then, Dwight, that there would have need to be some adjustments whether you're coming from bi-monthly
either way.
onto monthly, or you're going from monthly to bi-monthly. So again, the logistics should have been worked out so that we can make sure that the impact, if any, is lessened. And that can only be accomplished through the consultative process. As unionists, it is our obligation to hear an issue or concern, communicate the same to our membership, get a consensus from them on how they feel about it, and go back and speak to the person's concern and say, listen, this is what we've received from the membership. We need to mitigate against this because these are genuine issues and concerns for our people. You can't just decide, I'm going to change your life, like it or lump it. No, we don't live in that type of society.
No, we haven't been given a timeline exactly when this is going to happen, right? But also, this is similar to what Seattle was saying just now. This is what the Prime Minister has said on it. He said, quote, this will allow for more frequent paydays, which will almost certainly support employees to improve their cash flow. This, in turn, will hopefully shield employees from high-interest consumer loans in order to fund everyday expenses. Well,
that, for me...
I don't even, I'm sorry, that part right there doesn't make any sense to me, because if my salary is $1,200, now you giving me $600 on the 15th and $600 on the 30th, it's still $1,200. If I have to get a consumer loan to continue obligations, giving me the money in 2 increments isn't the issue. I think I need an increase in my salary.
I don't know. There are people, we don't want to admit it, there are people who by the second week of the month are done. It's zero. And this will teach them to manage money better. And this will help.
So?
Because you will have to say, well, this part can only go towards these bills, and then this part that I get later will go to those things, as opposed to people trying to do everything and all at once. And if something comes up, they are screwed.
Yeah, but Dwight, I want to lend to what Laverne indicated. And then Laverne, I didn't even realize you were there, but good morning. And
good morning.
Listen, it's suggesting salary increase. And I know we're going to get to talk about that, right? But again, listen, yes, there's some things that still exist from the colonial days, some stuff that needs to be changed, okay? Again, I'm going to insist that we can do those incrementally so that the impact is minimal. But again, we're not diametrically opposed to anything. But the case and point that we're making, you cannot eliminate the consultative process.
Right. Yeah, I think we can all agree on that part.
Elected a president to speak on their behalf. You can't make every attempt to cause the leaders of various unions look incompetent when you spring in stuff like this on our people. That's going to have a profound impact. That's disrespectful by governments.
Yeah. One more call on this, and we got to move to the other issues affecting the people. Call, you're on the air. Are you there? Hi, good morning. Yes. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Dwight, and to your listening audience, and to the president, and to your Freeport co-host.
Laverne. Good morning, John Pender.
Good morning, Good morning, Good morning. Let me just say this. Okay. First of all, the 2 things the government has recognized. They are definitely in violation when they try to make amendments to any industrial agreement unilaterally. So I support the unions in ensuring that there's proper consultation. Proper consultation. Because oftentimes the government think that when they send you a letter, they say they had consulted you to let you know what they can do, without you really being to the table and agreeing to what's happening or knowing exactly what's going on. So I support the unions in ensuring that they get proper consultation on this. But let me just say this, man. The government is come skating around. I think the Prime Minister alluded to the fact that cash flow is a problem. NIB has problem making payments on time. You go to bi-weekly payments for the public service, so they get money twice a month rather than getting it once a month. That, I think that's the biggest issue. They have more cash. The government will then get more cash because they're taking the NIB contribution from the employees. Okay? And so that goes in the NIB, they can make payments more timely. As relates to the payments, the bi-weekly payments has to be a day and not a date. But you can't say the 14th of each month because sometimes the 14th may fall on Sunday or Saturday. So you have to pay like the private sector and some of the quasi-government agencies. They pay every second Thursday in the month. And that's how they got to do that, to make it make sense. As it relates to the salary reductions, you just have to now do them in 2 installments. However, again, you have to ensure the union is educated on it so they can educate their membership. And don't be ashamed to say, listen, man, we have a cash flow problem. And for us to get be more efficient in our payments, our financial obligations, we need you to be paid twice a month rather than once a month. And let me also say happy Labor Day to all the workers in our country. I trust that they continue to put their best foot forward in the development of our country.
Okay. John Pinder, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. So, hey, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this a whole lot more over the next few weeks and months. But let's get to some of the other issues that you are facing, that you're dealing with. I know you've mentioned nurses, and we heard a lot yesterday about what's going on in the hospital, the doctors, and, of course, the nurses are experiencing this too.
Well, I think that we all would agree to the fact that we're challenging the healthcare system. And we would have made every effort to work along with the Public Hospitals Authority wherever we can. But we're finding on a daily basis that there's what we call dilapidation in every regard. And so the healthcare system finds itself in its delivery of healthcare very, very, very challenged. And so I know there's a lot of talk about a new hospital and all this sort of thing. I didn't have an opportunity, Dwight, to go to the town hall meetings to get an understanding. But I believe, too, that this particular venture should have at least caused to happen some audience with the stakeholders that it would impact. And so hence, I don't know what's going on. Yes, the Bahamian people are the main stakeholders, but you now you're staffing it. So that's where we come in. And so somebody's going to have to tell us now how you intend to do this. So again, right now, there are at least about 4 or 5 wards in the hospital closed. I have some photos, they're graphic. You wouldn't want to see them. I wondered if that was the hospital myself. It's disappointing. And I'm happy that I'm here because both numbers I have to Dr. Dowell, they are no longer operational. I hear Dr. Dowell changing his number by the week now. And listen, I have need to reach out to Dr.
Like
Dowell.
your salaries would be.
He changing the number bi-weekly now. So I'm on appeal to Dr. Dowell. Dr. Dowell, I need to speak with you so that we can exhaust diplomacy on some issues as opposed to me going into the media speaking to the minister from a microphone. And I find him to be a very reasonable gentleman. So I'm appealing. I tried to call the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Health to see if I can reach out to Dr. Dowell. He answers his phone. And so again, we're seeing a disregard for the employee representative in this country. Right, one of the items in relation to the PHA, the kitchen. Now, yeah, the hospital may be old, but if an appliance is malfunctioning, you think if you put a new one there because the building old, the new appliance ain't gonna function? We've had challenges at the kitchen in the hospital forever. The last thing that we were advised is the exhaust fans are not working. Now, we don't know when the hospital is going to be completed, but are you going to allow the people in the kitchen to suffer till the new hospital is completed? I think not. And so we would have withdrawn services from the kitchen. We have women in there, they handle the temperature a little different from men. We have a number of other things that are malfunctioning in the kitchen of the hospital. We have stuff that's malfunctioning in radiology. We have stuff that's malfunctioning in the lab. There are so many issues, but we don't seem to, we were told that stuff was being ordered. I don't know where they're coming from, Australia, Africa, I don't know where it's coming from. But just like banking, we have means of getting things here rather quickly and in a reasonable time frame. And so I want to make an appeal. Fix the kitchen. Fix the kitchen. That's what I'm saying.
We had a caller earlier saying that they ran out of food, they've run out of meat, they've run out of all kinds of things.
Fix the kitchen. And, again, I want to agree with C. Allen. I believe that we genuinely have a cash flow problem in this country. But there's a disregard for the fact that we have a cash flow by some of the financial behaviors we have. And so it's more profitable for some and for all. And so we are adding to the financial challenges that we're having by decisions that we made, and only few are benefiting. And so again, the concern is fix the hospital, fix the air conditioning radiology. If the air conditioning malfunctioning, there's always contingency funding anywhere. My wife just put money in the wallet and lost it where it had been idea so long. That's supposed to be the contingency funding. So we expect the government to be more astute in their financial and economic practices so that when there's a malfunctioning something, it takes a reasonable time frame to get it rectified. And so again, there's some stuff happening in the hospital that concerns me. I don't want to go into it in detail, but the other day, there was a shooting somewhere. The fellas say they come in, but the other fella housed in the hospital, ward full of people and staff.
Wow.
You endangering the lives of my people. I am certain. I come from a police and a prison background. We have isolated areas where we put particular people to ensure that nobody else is jeopardized. And
did that happen in this situation?
No, sir. No, sir. So again, like I said, I ain't gonna elaborate too much, but that's the position. And so consideration.
That happens often, doesn't it?
Yes. And so we need to make sure that we take decisions that's going to have either a minimal impact or no impact at all. We're seeing that we have persons out there that don't have a regard for authority. So it doesn't matter to me how much police you like an employee. Fella could come during visiting hours.
Don't give them any.
What are you going to do? You're going to search everybody and insult people integrity by doing so when they come to visit their loved ones? I think not. So that's one. We have the EMS personnel. They're in contact with the general public every day. We can't even get insurance coverage for them. These people are the lifesavers in this country. At least we can make sure that if something happens out there, that they can take care of themselves without a burden. We have some people in the higher echelon of things that make sure that they get insurance coverage. And the only thing they're coming into contact with is a desk and a pen. So I expect that consideration. We got auxiliary nurses out there. The counterparts in the Public Hospitals Authority, they're getting the hazard allowance. What happened to the ones over in public health? They're auxiliary nurses too. They're carrying out the same job. Dwight, when last of you visited the clinics?
I had to go to one.
Listen, Dwight, I was wondering where I was. And people have to work in these environments. I make it a habit of going to these places regularly to see what is going on. We are in trouble. And see, I'm going to add this. One thing with me, I listen to all the politicians. Red, gold, green, none doesn't mean nothing to me in that particular regard. It don't matter. But I just listen to what you say in your, what you call them things? Where they put all the promises in. One is blueprint for change. What the other one was?
Manifesto.
Right, them. And listen, the hospital was one of those areas in which the government, they were going to do particular things. I spoke to a very high official, and the person told me about how they inherited. Yes, you inherited, but you promised the Bahamian people that you can fix it. Fix it. Fix it. That's all I'm asking. Not only for you want the staff to help you to deliver health care. Fine. We're about to do our jobs and to partner with you. But listen to me. You can't put me in a work environment where I have to be overly concerned about my well-being and it's not productive at all. We did a walkabout, myself along with the Nurses Union president the other day, and what I saw was deplorable. We got to get it together. The Bahamian people deserves better.
So a lot of these issues you're bringing up, these are not new. They've been going on for a long time. We're still here. What are you going to do?
Well, it's a very difficult decision, Dwight, when the union has, particularly with the healthcare industry, to decide to withdraw services. But we're charged with the responsibility of taking care of the patients. Who's taking care of my people? And if I sit down and say, well, we can't do this because the patients got to get their medication, and let me tell you something, somebody dropped down from heat stroke in the kitchen. How would I have represented them properly? And so again, we have to take firm stances. And again, I'm certain that there are things that we can do to minimize the impact of the adverse conditions. At one time, the air condition malfunction in the Prime Minister's office. Man, I gone in there, they had more portable air condition. I thought I was in the North Pole. So I'm saying, yes, that's the chief of the nation, and he should be given some consideration, but so should these people.
Mm-hmm. I got to ask you about the insurance. We asked the CPS, what's the reason for them for not offering insurance? What are they telling you when it comes to the nurses?
Well, let me answer it this way. The entire managerial side of the PHA, they get the money to buy their own insurance. They get that. I want put that out there. They get it. They straight. And let me tell you something. The conditions under which they work ain't nowhere near what the doctors working. I walked through ambulance and emergency with the N95 mask on the other day. And Dwight, because one, the air quality was not what it's supposed to be, I came with there with one cough, like I don't know what. Let me say this. Accident and Emergency started its renovation prior to the American Embassy building, its building.
Wow.
They went down 3 stories in the ground and a couple stories above. They basically completed. Accident and Emergency still ain't up and running. We see, we're going to measure you by what you say. You understand me? And we know that this is an area of priority in this country. We have this saying, the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. Well, I don't think we all ascribe to that because of what we are seeing. So we're making appeals. These items we're talking about here, they've been discussed. They've been discussed. But yet we don't see the results yielding from the discussions.
Yeah.
So we're concerned. Another thing that I want to talk about, Dwight, is there was a discussion in relation to the NIB contributions and the fact that persons would pay on the ceiling, and once you would have paid 5 years or more, and expect upon retirement your contribution to be a certain amount. Well, we have persons that would have been paying on the ceiling, but yet they're still receiving the minimum amount. That's a concern. So we want to make an appeal to the government to look into this particular issue, because you can't take people money and then decide to give them less than what we would have bargained for.
Yeah. All right, so we're running out of time, but then you must be happy at least about the salary review, right? At least that part must make you kind of pleased with what they're doing.
See, again, Dwight, in these 2 agreements that I have before me, one is 2005, one is 2014. In 2007, a compensation study was done. The only aspect of the compensation study that was implemented was the service side of it. The money side was disregarded. Now, watch here. I have before me information that speaks to a portion of our bargaining unit, which is at the higher level, the permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries. They extracted themselves from this study. the union had no knowledge that this was going on between 2016 and 2022. Permanent secretaries were given a $12,000 increase. Then from January of 2022 to July of 2022, a $6,000 increase. And from July to July of 2023, another $6,000 increase. Hence, a $24,000 increase for permanent secretaries who enjoy vehicles, the servicing of the same, phone allowance. These persons, they only need to do 2 stints in the office as a permanent secretary, and they leave with a very handsome pension. Is the saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, a reality, or are we trying to change this? This is a concern.
Well, some will say, why are you watching that? Let's talk about the
Hold on.
workers. And,
you know why I'm watching it? I'm watching it because you got some people, they benefiting. The small man, we agitated for salary increases for the lower side of the public service. We have some people, they ain't received the increase yet from July of 2022. Wow. They ain't get it. Now, why are we watching it? How come you could find money to pay these people? And you've committed, you've signed off on the dotted line and agreed to pay these people, but from 2022, we met with the Minister of the Public Service and Labor and asked, and there was a suggestion that it is sophisticated that they would have made the appeal and they haven't gotten a response. Can one man hold this country hostage?
Oh, Kimsley trying to get us in trouble. So you don't have any confidence that this $10 million will finally right what was wrong about all of this has happened over these years?
Well, the question is, the $10 million, is that to pay for the compensation study or the salary review, or is that payment?
He cleared that up. He said that will go towards paying people.
Hold on. So it means then you done had a discussion about this salary review. You didn't include the union, and you already determined what you're paying and who you're paying. Wow. Now tell me, how does that help me to go to my members? It means that you had a disregard for me as the people's representative. And so, again, a number of unilateral decisions have been made. We have security officers at the Ministry of Education. From 2005, the former president, who was on the radio a while ago, indicated in that agreement, and they signed off on it, shift premium. They haven't been paid shift premium from 2005 to current date. I went and checked. And so, again, these things that we agree to, particularly if they're financial matters, they're budgeted for. So if you budgeted for it, where is the money?
Oh. I'm very worried you won't have any energy for the march tomorrow, Kim.
Oh, no, all I got is energy.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
All I got is energy.
Well, we got less than a minute now. Let's talk about that tomorrow and your final words to workers out there. Yes, it's some stressful times, but what do you want to say to encourage them?
Well, we're working with you, for you, and on your behalf, and we are not going to give up. We're saying tomorrow, come out. We salute you for the tremendous job, from the janitors all the way up to top level man who weren't doing it. It couldn't have gotten done. And so we want to hail you and salute you on today and tomorrow. Come out. Let's show support. Let's move forward. The struggle continues, but it can get easier if the burden is equally shared.
Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of people heading to the ILO meeting. Are you heading, or you going? Or Belinda's
No,
over there?
I'm not going to make that. Madam President is over there, and she's holding her own. I told her about this biweekly thing, and she went ballistics after I spoke to her, and, I had to encourage her. Man, Dwight, we even got something in our industrial agreement that speaks to the fact that they're public servants, once they're at the max of their salary scales, and they don't get a promotion to move from there. Once they get to above average appraisals, they're entitled to a lump sum payment. The government has not been acting on that. They signed off on that, Dwight. It's in here. So, again, There's not proper budgeting. And I talked to the position. I ain't calling no one name because people just want pull gun on you and fight you when you call names.
Especially if you're smiling.
Listen, especially if you're smiling.
Mm-hmm.
I am saying, when it comes to the money, you could tell us how much you giving us. But when time to pay, we can't find you. You're like Jerry Roca. Listen to me. I can ask the question. 2, who's the finance minister in this country? And could one man hold this country hostage? Because apparently that individual is in demand. And he look like he can't share himself with everybody so we could get these things resolved. And let me tell you something. I can say to them, I can put on my bulletproof vest when I go in there because I know it could happen. Behave yourself as public servants. I want to say that to all our members. Govern yourselves accordingly because you represent the Bahamian people. And I have some stories I could tell about the fella who come down off the podium, but I ain't going to do that today.
No, we're trying to end on a positive note, Kimsley. I don't think we did that.
No, but listen, all I'm saying is if we want the results to yield things that are positive, then let's act as if we're partners in this thing. We are partners. A lot of people cause trade unionists to go from 0 to 100 in no minute time. Why? If you make me look incompetent in front of the people that I represent, you think I could be sitting down showing my teeth? No, Dwight. So we're saying, embrace us. I don't need to be loitering around the House Assembly, porting out to see the Prime Minister or any particular minister. This agreement suggests that we're supposed to have access to those individuals to address issues and concerns. And let me tell you something. I wouldn't discount some things. I believe for a fact, that some things were done to impact public servants, but there are some things that are very important to public servants simply because the cost of living is escalating.
All right, Kimsley Ferguson, enjoy Labor Day tomorrow. Enjoy the march. And thank you for being here this morning. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap things up. But Kimsley Ferguson with the Bahamas Public Service Union, thank you very much. Happy Labor Day to you.
Thank you, and you too.
All right, we'll be back. Stay with us.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
Are you tired of city life, yearning for a relaxing getaway without the headaches of international travel? Well, we've got just the thing for you. Escape to paradise without leaving home with our limited time 2-fly free offer for Bahamas residents. Whether you're craving adventure, seeking to reconnect with your roots, or simply yearning to unwind in secluded shores, the Family Islands has something for everyone. But you better act fast because this incredible 2-fly free offer is only available until June 30th. Don't let this opportunity slip away. So why wait? Book your trip today. Escape the ordinary, discover the extraordinary, and experience the magic of the Family Islands. Visit BahamasResidence.com for more information and start planning your ultimate island getaway today.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
We're good for you.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Laverne Gardner, we are out of time. Be sure to pick up today's Nassau Guardian, especially the business section, to read the latest in business news in the country. This is brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Thank you to everybody who's a part of our Labor Week series. Laverne, hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend.
You too.
I'll see you next week, and I'll be back on Monday.
Happy Labor Day, Laverne.
That's Kimsley Ferguson.
Thank
Happy
you.
Labor Day to everyone.